distract you.
No, it's okay. There we go. Charles, even when things are complicated, once you have the system down, there it is.
It's down. Well, here we are back in the Washington Square Park.
Absolutely. It's kind of calm today. It's maybe Maniac's day off.
Well, here in this corner and in the distance, you see the two guys in gray shirts and the girl in the white dress. They are part of, I think, a charity con artist scam. We'll have to check and see later. But I think that's if it's the same group that was doing what they're doing now, earlier today, they were raising money for something called the United Breast Cancer Foundation or something like that. And personally, I think that if you're going to be trying to raise money for a charity, it should be the United Breast Cancer Cure Foundation. I mean, why do you want to raise money for cancer?
Right.
To be the Joe Biden charity. Let's give more people cancer so we can reduce inequality of cancer.
Oil cancer or whatever it was that he was claiming to have. Oh, let me see if I can get us going on Telegram. I forgot to start that there. Charles, we have so many alternate platforms that we're on now. We've got Telegram, we've got Getter, we've got Rumble, we've got Odyssey, Crowdsource the Truth 7, Crowdsource the Truth 8, the Sunday with Charles YouTube channel.
You're becoming a media multinational presence.
Magnate.
Exactly. You always were a magnate. So
Is
look,
that
this
Elon Musk?
Here we have, to your right here, did you hear about the results of the poll they're trumpeting now, as it were?
What's with this bus?
Well, I don't know, but it's been here for a while. MXB 2024, Michael.
For president, yeah.
So I want to just talk about this for a second, because there was a poll that people are bragging about that Pete Buttigieg douchebag came in with 17% of the vote in some poll conducted among likely voters or voters in New Hampshire, beating Biden by 1 point. Now, if I were in a real job at a media operation trying to decide, do we want to publicize this story, yes or no, I'd be saying, well, what are you talking about here? If the best this idiot can do is 1 point better than a certifiable
than terrible, right?
You know, why are we going to say this is evidence that maybe Buttigieg will be the leader? He gets in 17 points, and I think Kamala Harris, who really should just get rid of her hockey stick and her skates and everything, and just give up political hockey. She comes in in the basement. I think Hillary, I think, came in worse than Kamala Harris. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm surprised to hear that.
Well, again, at this point in July, putting together a poll of who might vote
in 2024.
In 2024, it's so far
accurate.
away. I mean, you're much more interested right now in how are you going to pay your credit card bill, your tuition bill, your food bill, and stuff like that. So, I mean, I saw this poll, and it creates an opportunity. This guy over here,
this bus could win.
Whoever this Michael Xavier Burns
is. Let's go look at the bus and see what the hell he's got going on. It just doesn't seem like this is going to...
Yeah, is the Lion of Judah related to
No, I think it was that Rasta guy who just walked by. I think that's got something to do with Rastafari. There's turds there, Charles. Careful.
Filming a documentary.
Oh. Now maybe this is the guy.
But see, here's his platform.
Grateful Dead.
Manners, civility, like that. A proper relationship with technology, that's good. Feminine energy, and the women, aka the women, are smarter. I'm not sure I'm with that. You're on the wrong drugs. Cannabis
and shrooms. I think shrooms are pretty illegal.
MXB has spent $50K of his own cash in the last 30 days.
On shrooms?
Yeah, is $50K special K, and there's his phone number?
Whoa. Well, call him up. He could tell us where to get the shrooms.
Yeah. Filming a documentary.
Michael Xavier Burns on Facebook. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Joe Biden.
What?
Oh, he's younger than me.
48. Dead date? Or what's that? Dead date?
I guess that's when he first started with the Grateful Dead, is what he's talking about.
I get you. All right.
Oh, no, that's Jerry Garcia in the window. It's not going to be a Rasta guy who's hanging out with the Grateful Dead.
Take a pic and post to Facebook. We're doing better than that. Bring in the baseline track.
I mean, this is nuts. You might as well just write, pull me over on the side of this thing.
And how is this bus parked here?
It's the Freak Brothers on Tubi app. I don't know. It's a strange thing that we saw here, Charles. Let's just take a little stroll through the park because we
Sure.
haven't been here in a few days. We've been
See
in
what's
studio
left.
the past.
We'll see what's left of it.
Right.
If there is anything left of it.
Oops.
Careful, Jason.
Yep. This guy's really speeding. But Charles, back on Kamala Harris for a second. I saw this meeting she was holding yesterday
well,
where she started off.
It was with blind people, I think.
Well, but she started off talking about her pronouns, and I think that people were focusing on that in a way that was not appropriate. Not
Right.
that I think it's great for the vice president to be talking about that, but she went on to say the fundamental thing that she was saying was totally wrong.
It's not news.
Right. I mean, everyone's like, oh my God, she's talking about her pronouns. I was like, how about the fact that what she's talking about in the meeting is completely stupid?
Well, she blamed apparently Biden for the border crisis. She said it's not her responsibility, it's Biden's. Always a strong move as a second in
Pass
command.
the buck.
To blame your boss. I mean, that's it publicly.
Even better.
In front of the news, so on tape and stuff, so that you can have a hard time saying you didn't say that.
I forgot what it was specifically that she was talking about, but I remember thinking it's weird that they're upset about the pronouns and not saying anything about this. Why? It looks like the park has been cleared out. What do we
Well, I don't know, it's Wednesday.
attribute that to? Like, I think it would be a risk to sit there with a computer on a normal day, although the weed sales haven't really slowed down.
Yeah, the bad art is there. In my day, as a kid in the park, what you had was ice cream trucks. And for some reason, you had ice cream trucks in the park and you had hot dog things outside the park. But now we got weed for everybody.
Yeah. But that would definitely, I think, make certain people not want to have their kids hanging out in this park.
Well, particularly, junior high school type kids.
Right.
Because there's always some wise-ass junior high school kid who's going to encourage very young children to smoke and
Right.
do
I
stuff.
think that, for a lot of people, that's the age where you start getting into trouble. You're old
Right.
enough to kind of.
Yeah. It's like, when did you go off track?
Yeah. Somebody's watch.
Probably worth a couple $1,000. I'll just beg.
This is the neighborhood watch program.
Look at how
Stop
fast
it.
that guy's going.
I know. And where are the cops?
Not here.
Never.
And he's got one of those bikes, I think, that you have no, they're tough to stop.
The 6th precinct has totally failed. The NYPD has totally failed.
Yeah.
This guy's making hats all the time.
Hey, he's a hat purveyor. You
A
want one?
lot of hats.
This woman is...
But it seems a little too hot for a wool hat.
there you go again. Suddenly you're a scientist.
Right.
Weather expert.
Oh, yeah. She said, I am a woman wearing a blue dress. I was like, wait a minute now.
Blue
We need a
pantsuit.
scientist.
Blue pants.
We need a colorist. What are we doing here?
All right.
You're completely
Well, she's not quite as bad. I mean, it would be difficult. I think maybe should do. That's a very old.
But I've never noticed this before. They don't want anybody breaking into the water fountain.
Well,
It's
they're maybe
secure.
stealing it. Whoa! You need this?
I think you just dropped your.
It's okay. Thank you. No problem.
That dropped by bumping into my ass.
It's like,
Hey, oh,
that's that famous.
with all the dead bodies.
Right.
So there's a movie about it now.
But that's emblematic of what's going on in the city. We have stores are all shut, but we got guys on carts on sidewalks,
Just dropping the stuff.
shit all over the place. Maybe we'll come to an Amazon warehouse here on the sidewalk. I think you've seen those.
We just got hit by one.
Well, but they'll take a big truck and then they'll take a bunch of parking spaces. There'll be 6 or 8 guys from Amazon throwing packages all over the place. And when I watch that, I say to myself, I'm never shipping anything to New York on Amazon watching this. I mean, and it's certainly anything valuable.
I tell you what, Charles, I've been selling some of the old iPhones on eBay to recuperate some dough.
Right.
And one of them, the first one, So like I box it up and then I write on there so I can keep it straight. You've
Right.
seen the apartment. It's a little bit stuff all over the place. So I wrote iPhone 6 on there.
Uh-huh.
And then when I stuck the label on it, I'll check this in the future, but that iPhone 6 might have been visible on the box.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and the guy who
So
got
don't
it,
don't do that. Yeah.
the box was empty.
Really? So what happens there?
No,
you
just-
want to walk by Monty's, or you want to walk on?
Where? Which?
You tell me.
I don't mind. Let's go someplace.
Yeah, we'll walk by Monty's because we haven't done that in a while.
Sure.
This allows us to walk by Anderson.
I just
Cooper's
gave the
house.
guy his money back and
And you lost the phone?
lost the phone, yeah.
That's outrageous. You didn't insure it?
Well, I mean, it was like, $75 item. No, I didn't insure it.
Right.
So, I mean, the post office said there's a $50 insurance on anything, and I will follow up. This is a new location for Il Milano,
No,
isn't
it's
it?
been here
Has it?
3 years. Yeah. But the
3 years.
the original one was Upper East Side or something.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then Sushi Zo.
And here's Biden's restaurant, Crap to Go.
Spring Bone? What is this? Crap to go? Crepe to go?
Crap to Go, it's pronounced, Jason. And this is a see this place here, the deli across the street. We'll walk across
Yeah.
the street. I come in here a number of times every morning, every week rather, and very frequently there's somebody blocking the door. Let's go this way. And the owners just don't do anything about it. But I mean, I was in there once, walking into 3 bums. One of them smoking.
Whoa, inside the place?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a problem because you start with those guys, they could beat you up.
Well, and Tucker, apparently last night, I didn't see it, he had a segment about how far south New York City has gone. And
Yeah.
how much of a disaster it is. We've been showing that for now, this is our 3rd year of showing
Right.
the decline and fall of New York, which I think brings us to the poster.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot. Now, this is one of those, Charles, that I almost can't believe we haven't thought of this before. Joerassic Park, The Lost World. I mean, this idiot is just destroying everything.
The 2 of them. You saw that Jill Biden's speechwriter or
Quit.
Well, she's the one who the genius
The tacos?
the breakfast taco. I mean, obviously, the two of them, the dynamic duo, Joe and Jill, are just placeholders.
For
I mean,
what, though?
I mean, if you're gonna, all of our work, not one of our shows has had a script.
Correct.
Right? We're up to well over 1,000.
Well, Robert David Steele would disagree with you, but he doesn't know what he's talking about, and
Right.
he's fake dead.
Yeah, well, but so over 1,000 hours, and in an hour, I don't know how many words you can utter in an hour, but it's probably
A lot.
quite a few. So we don't need scripts. We study our material. We obviously do a lot of independent writing and thinking about things. But if I had to read off the script, which I probably will never do, if somebody said, I'm Jill Biden, and somebody says, "This is what you're going to say. This is what you're going to say to the good people of San Antonio." That you remind them of your favorite breakfast taco.
Yeah.
I would say, "Who wrote this?"
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
No, I'd say, "Who wrote this?"
You're fired.
No. Who wrote this? Okay, you're summarily executed. And we're gonna, the old World War II days, the tyrant days. We're gonna send your family a bill for the execution. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Did they do that? Wow.
Unfortunately, certain tyrants have done that in the past. Yeah. So
Here's the bill. Wow.
that's cold, right?
That is.
And horrible.
Even thinking of that is like, man, you're evil.
That stuff's going down right now all over the world.
Charging people?
No, the diabolical stuff is going on all over the world, and we care about Ukraine, in theory. Now,
Right.
here's a nice mess of garbage. Really makes you want to go into this place to see this pile of garbage.
Back on Ukraine for a second, Charles. Oh, look at this. The exterior restaurant's getting graffiti now. Zelensky announced his blacklist of
I know.
politicians and journalists. Senator Black was on there. Richard Black. He's been on the show a bunch of times with the Moriartys.
Also Caleb Mopin, one of the guys I know from RT, he's an American guy, he's a communist, proud member of the Communist Party, but actually a very good guy, despite his economic views.
Confused, yeah.
He grew up in the heartland in a family that had known nothing but economic pain, and has yet to see the upside of true capitalism, not crony capitalism,
Right.
which is what we practice, but true capitalism.
Well, it's
anyway,
what they practice.
right.
We're forced to be subjected to it.
Right. So, this when I see, we saw this a long time ago. Each of us had been to Ukraine before the trouble started, and we were very suspicious prior to February 24th of what might happen.
Technically, I've been at war with Ukraine already.
How?
My divorce from Tatiana.
Oh. So in Ukraine, is it when you divorce a Ukrainian woman, you go to war?
I got a taste of what Ukraine war is like.
Was it good?
It's cruel.
Does it need spices?
I'm joking, but I'm also not, because she did a lot of things that were intended to hurt me that I knew were damaging her and were self-destructive. And I even tried to share that with her and get her to stop, and she wouldn't. When we finally had dinner 7 years after the divorce and became friends again,
right.
She acknowledged that and apologized to me and said that she realizes now that I was the only one who was trying to help her. She got in a big fight with her lawyer, which I had anticipated based on what the lawyer was doing and saying.
Right.
Anyway, we don't need to talk about that, but...
But on the question of Ukraine, on the question of our for-ass or hopeless foreign policy, did we think when we sent more money in a short period of time to any country in the world than we've ever done?
Yeah.
Right? Did we think that money, A, might have been stolen,
Right.
B, might have been used by a government to eliminate its domestic opposition, clamp down on its press, and now attempt to interfere in international...
U.S. press, right.
And did we stop to question why, in 2019, why we bent over, as to say, people in the media, bent to the will of our overlords and said, okay, you don't want us to focus on this whistleblower and who this whistleblower is.
You're talking about the impeachment whistleblower.
Right, and you can't, you have a right to face your accuser in this country, but that doesn't apply to Trump.
Right.
And so, we're not going to investigate who this guy is. We can say his name, right?
The guy who likes caramellos?
Right, that guy. Who's not Caramello Anthony, or whatever. But
Right.
anyway, that guy, we had no right, and evidently most had no interest in looking into what's the background of this guy, who was he working for, was by chance he working for the CIA? Was he working with Joe Biden?
I think it's admitted that he was working for the CIA.
Was he working with Joe Biden?
I think
Was
it's
he
admitted.
working with Shifty Adam Schiff? We can't look at any of that. We just have to accept his claims, which were not made in a whistleblower context, as
Right.
a whistleblower claim. And then we can't question anything regarding this guy's motives, who he's in a league with, is this a conspiracy, who benefits from the accusations.
Why
None of
every
that.
other whistleblower gets their job and life destroyed, and this guy is protected and hidden by everybody?
Right, and this, anything to do with Trump, if it's against Trump, by all means, burn him in hell, before the trial. Don't let him mount a defense, just destroy him.
Well, and now there's a lot of articles coming around that Merrick Garland is saying that he's open to prosecuting Trump. How come anytime I ever talk to law enforcement or anything like that, they're all like, well, we can't tell you anything about what we're going to do, except when Merrick Garland wants to prosecute Trump, they're like, no, let's put that on the front page of the news.
Well, Merrick Garland is a weasel.
Terrible.
And thank God he was not given a chance to be on the Supreme Court. Remember, that's why he's mad at Trump and the Republicans, is Obama was going to try to get him on the Supreme Court, and Mitch McConnell said,
no.
Ixnay.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good thing they didn't do that. There was something, they just passed a thing, I think, in the House, like a 4-page bill about how to reform the Supreme Court. And I was thinking, it starts off talking about how the Supreme Court has lost credibility. And I was just thinking, Congress telling the Supreme Court that it's lost credibility,
right.
It's like Chris Christie telling Lizzo she's fat.
Yeah, or Al Capone setting up the Capone tax advice firm.
Right.
Get a machine gun, then you don't have to pay taxes. But no, this whole situation in Ukraine is disgusting. And the people who, a lesson for me particularly watching the period 2001 to the present, is just how gullible mad crowds are. I mean, the crowds get together in group behavior, people follow perceived leaders,
Right.
and they do things without thinking, and they get invested in what they're doing, and they can't admit that it's wrong because they've been doing it for so long. And look at the place we're in now. Look at where we are. I mean, the people of Ukraine have been done an enormous disservice, allowing Zelensky. That thing went out of business. That used to be a pretty nice restaurant.
Yeah. A lot of stuff is going out of business.
Allowing the United States and others to cement Zelensky's role as, a comedian in charge of a country.
Comedian, exactly. He's on the cover of Vogue today, this week or
wearing
something.
a dress?
Well, with his wife.
Well, just like there really is. I mean, the guy is a
Somebody's getting tased.
definition of ass clown. Is this guy Bill Kristol? You know who he is?
Yeah, he's a neocon.
Horrible individual.
He was in the PNAC.
Well, the what?
Project for a New American Century. He's down with Kagan and
Oh, absolutely. No, but before
Bolton.
that, he was the chief of staff for, until Biden came along and Harris, the dumbest vice president in recent history, Dan Quayle.
Huh.
That's his claim to fame. His father.
I think Joe Biden was dumber than Dan Quayle.
I said until he came along.
Oh.
So here's Bill Kristol. I'm sorry, when you work for a dunce, I don't care what you think you're doing, you're worse than a dunce because you're working for the dunce.
Subordinate to the dunce.
And so he's mouthing off all the time.
Vice dunce.
He has now decided, this idiot, that the next president of the United States should be, and I bet you're not going to guess who it is, but I'll give you a chance.
Didn't they say Gavin Newsom? Oh no, Buttigieg.
No.
Who?
It comes from the musical world. And the argument is that because Zelensky's so
Kanye?
great and he's a comedian. Nope. Give you one more guess. Married to a white person, but African American.
I'm going to guess Kanye again. They're divorced, so that can't be right.
John Legend.
Oh,
His
God, no. He
his
can't be the
legendary
president.
lack of
He's a
manager-
legendary asshole.
I know. Well, but that's why probably Bill Kristol's recommending it. We're members of the same chapter of Assholes.
John Legend?
I know. He's a good singer.
Excellent piano player, great singer.
Political idiot.
I just, why do we think playing the piano and being a singer makes you capable of being the president?
It worked for what's his name? Zelensky. He was a.
And I guess because everybody says, well, Trump was just a real estate guy and a TV show.
Yeah.
He could be president, so anybody could be president.
Yeah. Well, just the real estate guy. I think Trump's real estate record's pretty good.
No, but that's what they say.
Oh, they don't know what they're talking about.
Correct.
Ubiquitous. They. So isn't that your favorite restaurant over there, Jarrell's?
I never have been in there.
Oh, Jason, you talk all
Actually,
this. Let's go in the shade. You talk all this.
I think I have been in there one time. It's
See,
a diner,
now you
right?
admit it.
No, it used to be not Jarrell's. It was a diner. I did go in there one time with somebody
like-
who lives in this neighborhood who said, let's get a sandwich.
It's horrible. It's like Greece Central.
Yeah, I don't know if I even ate anything. It was...
Better burger.
This was my buddy I've told you about who's the only billionaire that I know, who I was working on a project with that he ultimately said, go make this worth $1 million and then I'll invest in it. And I was like, dude.
And I'll give you.
Yeah, I was like, if I could do that, I wouldn't need you to invest. But anyway, we went in there and he ate. I don't think I ate anything.
Yeah. That's how he got to be a billionaire, eating there.
That's not how his father owned a bank.
Ah, that's a better program.
Yeah.
That program tends to work for you until you get control of the business, and then this person's going to stop.
But he was like racing. See,
I know.
all these Ubers are dangerous. They've taken the place of taxis. They have to rush around to get to their next ride, and they're
Right.
going to wind up killing you. There was some Democrat congresswoman who was like leaving her cataract surgery or something, and cut off a car that crashed into her and flipped off the road, and the mother and a 5-year-old baby got killed.
Jesus. Yeah, you do have to be really careful walking the streets of New York, many big cities now in the summer, because you've got all these electric scooters and
Right.
motorbikes and dirt bikes and idiots going the wrong way at high speed and just deciding that,
Well, they don't need to pay as much attention on the electric bike because it basically, drives itself.
right, well, it's killed a lot of people in those electric bikes. There was some young 20-ish person just at the start of her TV journalism career who was killed, I think, last year on an electric scooter.
What happened? Crashed into a car?
Just, wasn't paying attention and maybe came the wrong direction. I don't know the specifics, but I do know.
It goes very fast.
They're silent and they move quickly, and they move quickly enough so that if you look both ways before you cross the street, you may look down there and not see it, and the thing hits you.
Yeah, I liked it better when they were illegal, which is just before the pandemic.
Right.
What's this huge tent?
It's quarantine city, I don't know.
See, it is good to roll around the city a little bit and see what's changing.
Yeah.
Keep our eyes on these sneaky bastards.
God, it's hot in the sun.
Yeah, it is getting much hotter than it was. Let's make a left and then we'll go in the shade. So Charles, there was an article in Revolver News about Ray Epps. I think it was quite odd. I mean, I don't see how anybody could disagree. They're basically locking up, 60-year-old grandmothers for just wandering into the place, and nobody has yet to say anything.
Well, it's the opposite of a real investigation. I mean, so we were there the night before. I remember there was talk. Was it the night before, the day before, that there was something supposedly at the DNC, which Kamala Harris was supposedly under threat, and there was another thing somewhere else. And
I don't remember all that.
Yeah, there was either the day of or the day before. But there was definitely talk of this agitator, turns out to be Ray Epps, saying, we got to go in tomorrow, we got to go into the Capitol. He's on tape saying all this.
Yeah.
And now, according to that Revolver piece, there's evidence that he was in telephone communication.
Well, actually, what it said is that there's tweets saying that, and he shows the tweets, that there's a Freedom of Information Act request, shows a dozen phone calls between the cell phone of Ray Epps and the office of Speaker of the House Pelosi before January 6th. And Darren Beattie, who's very sharp, caught on to that and said, well, what evidence do you have? Because this could easily be a disinfo thing that they'll disprove tomorrow and say, you see, everything they're saying about Ray Epps is false. But here's what I noticed about it. The Twitter account, which Revolver rightly points out, is an unknown Twitter account that normally would be pretty suppressed by Twitter.
Right.
It's called Retro Tech Noir. Now I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to bet if I say Tech Noir, that means nothing to you.
Nothing.
But you've seen Terminator, right?
Yeah, but a long time ago.
Sarah Connor was hiding out at a dance club called Tech Noir when Arnold Schwarzenegger first makes contact with her. And then the next suspicious account is Ariel Hicks. What was the name of Lieutenant Corporal Hicks in Aliens, also directed by James Cameron, played by the same guy who played Kyle Reese? I bet a science fiction fan created these two fake Twitter accounts and put out this disinformation that Darren Beattie is talking about, because he rightly points out, how the hell are they locking in jail old ladies and, dudes who kind of like couldn't hurt anybody? Oh, look, here's the Star Wars truck. They're locking them in jail, but here we've got a guy demanding that everybody breaks into the Capitol, and they haven't even so much as questioned him.
It's more trucks, right?
Yeah, Steady Dave was saying that production is way up. He's having a record year, shooting all kinds of TV shows.
What would one of these trucks cost to rent per day?
You know what? This is not my type of truck to rent.
Universal Rentals.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big production here. I've never
NBC Universal.
Right. I've never rented a truck like this.
Right.
But this is a huge production.
Cool.
So yeah, I agree. And that looks like the production over there. I agree with Darren Beattie that those are suspicious tweets. And again, I always caution people to, just because we hear something that sounds favorable or kind of caters to our bias, doesn't mean you should believe that right away. You should be as skeptical of that as anything. What is that? Betty Ford Foundation?
Yeah, Hazelden is one of those treatment centers for substance abuse.
Is that new?
I think that it may be new. I haven't noticed it before. right next to the police station here.
Maybe a decent idea for a
More
place to put
trucks.
it.
This is, I bet you this is, maybe they'll show what they're filming. So there's their set on the,
Yeah,
here.
but they're not going to tell you the actual
Sometimes,
name.
well, yeah, but sometimes they do. Holding to set.
It's for extras.
Uh-huh.
And cops parked in the
Sure,
crosswalk.
double park. Why not?
We can fit 4 cars, wave 4 cars through and pop them. It's
It's like
Just walking around in her underwear.
If you want to go around naked, by all means. But yeah, here is they might tell us right here. Law and Order, organized crime S3. So they're also shooting for Blue Buds up this, about 10 blocks up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess production is back in full swing.
Yeah.
Had dinner with my former Steadicam operator last night, and that's what he told me. So
This Haddad's business, unless it's run by
Crooks?
Hunter Biden or somebody, I got to believe that business coins money.
I
all
think that's right.
all this material, the license plates used to be in Pennsylvania, so they drive this stuff in and out, store it in a much cheaper location than New York City. Let's see if it still has the Pennsylvania plates. This is Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and I think they probably have everything all hooked up with the union. And
Right.
wait a minute, something just turned off for some reason. Now it's back.
Another Haddad's truck. A nice lady collecting bottles.
Yeah, they got a big production going on over here.
Huge, or as they say in Long Island, huge.
Yeah, so they really haven't explained what they're going to do about Ray Epps, and it is quite strange, as pointed out in that Revolver article, that the New York Times has gone so far out of their way to be like, oh no, nothing to see here with Ray Epps, he's a nice guy. They haven't done that for anybody else who's been in trouble on January 6th.
No, the New York Times, as far as I'm concerned, is irredeemable. It became irredeemable in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I probably saved a lot of money not paying for it ever since. Because I would subscribe, and then I'd start doing so much traveling, I have to pay for the subscription, then buy it wherever I went. Ukraine flag?
Yeah. I mean, you're just completely ostracized if you don't go along with the group think.
That I think is going to start to change. Particularly as people started to talk about Ukraine and the fact that the strategy of destroying Ukraine until the last Ukrainian person is dead,
Yeah.
using no foreign fighters.
By the way, that was Joe Biden's idea, not Putin's. Should we cross to the right just to get out of the...
wish. We're going to eventually head to the left, but
Yeah, but this will get us out of the
we'll,
blazing sun. So there were a lot of other topics we wanted to discuss.
well, this Ukraine thing, I mean, I think that the correct approach now, watching what we've seen so far, is to have back channel secret talks where we figure out what it would take to get the war finished. And I think Germany is probably sending feelers out along those lines. The French, who love to surrender, sorry, Fabian, not all French, but some French.
Macron.
Macaroon.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, he any catered meeting that he can go to get away from his his wife, and hang out with his real friends.
Joe, is the mic open? I want to tell you something very sensitive.
Exactly. Oh, it's broadcast live to
Oh.
2 billion people. Oh, yeah, not French.
Merit.
But wouldn't the correct thing be looking ahead? I mean, it's right now with the breeze, it's a little cold. Not freezing, but it's definitely
Nice.
a little bit of wind takes the temperature way down.
Yeah.
And you're thinking ahead a month from now, remembering that most of Europe is to the north, way to the north of New York City, and summers start getting cold. Days start getting shorter, and you don't have a hell of a lot of time now until the ground freezes, which means you want to do any kind of infrastructure work, sending pipe and this and that into the ground. You're sunk right now for the winter. And wouldn't the smarter thing be to say, look, blame it on Merkel, blame it on somebody else, would just cut a deal with Russia, peel away from Europe, get your energy, get your grain, and
Merry Christmas.
And say that you were shocked to learn that Zelensky was as crooked as he is, or something like that.
I'm shocked to learn there's gambling in this establishment.
And that's a role that I think we've carved out for Macron and the French. That's what they regularly do. And it's, plan A? Okay, we can do plan A. We do that all the time. But I do think...
Is this new?
Building is not new.
But this bubble.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that before.
I tell you what, if you showed me that bubble, it's New York Law School, it figures.
But what is in the bubble?
Should put most of the law professors. Is she wearing a shirt?
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, New York Law School. I don't think I'd be going here. What's this? You got furniture and then you got what is that thing? It's like a seed thing.
It's a wheelbarrow or something for, seeding lawn.
Broadcast spreader. It's a
I'll tell you, we got all kinds of...
And there's your favorite building, isn't it?
33 Thomas. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's an interesting one. That's where the prism, capturing of all the data is happening. So if someone in there maybe is watching this show right now, maybe the NSA will become a sponsor on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth.
I wouldn't hold your breath too long for that. Actually, I was watching a very interesting podcast on how to buy gold in Thailand, and I noticed that this promoter does something that you don't do.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Which I think is a good idea. And he said, if you like this broadcast, make sure to hit the like button on YouTube.
Hit the like button, subscribe, email it to your friends.
Right. And I noticed he did that. I mean, he clearly was doing this as his only line of work, I think.
Well, like me.
Right, but I think he may have been doing this for a long time as his only line of work. But he
could be right.
Yeah. Anyway, so now we've done it. Here we are on Church Street. Headed towards the World Trade Center.
Well, I thought we were going to the Fed.
I know, but we're currently headed towards the World Trade Center. At a certain point, you're going to have to direct this to the left.
Well, help everybody understand, including me, what is the deal with the Fed, what they're doing, what they hope to do. These guys know Elon Musk?
I guess. The Fed is the Federal Reserve Bank system, which is our central bank. And it has an enormous balance sheet and enjoys and has enjoyed, may not still enjoy, but has enjoyed the status as the biggest elephant in the room who can literally manipulate markets to their heart's content. So if they know interest rates are going to go up, then they can take certain positions and cause people to take certain positions to profit from that, and the reverse. And it was put together in the early 1900s, I want to say 1913 or thereabouts. And prior to then, in the United States anyway, we had many, many currency crashes.
Right.
Really grievous ones, far worse than 1929.
Huh.
And so the thought was that this would be a stabilizing influence, but it clearly wasn't contemplated by our founders. It's tough for me to understand how it has constitutional authority. And it's run by a friend of mine now, this guy Jay Powell, who I've said before is a really decent human being, a good guy, but he's a lawyer by training who's not really gifted with numbers.
Why did they put him in there?
Well, because, actually, it's not because of me, obviously, but he was junior to me at Dillon Reed.
Oh, wow.
And when Nick Brady went off to be Secretary of the Treasury, he had an unwritten agreement with an understanding with the CEO who succeeded him that he wouldn't poach any people. And I get a call from one of Nick's close consigliaries who had left Dillon Reed. He's a good guy. And he said, "Can I have a discussion with you, Charles? I want to talk about something in confidence." This is back in '89 or thereabouts. And he says, Nick really wants to hire Jay Powell to come in as Undersecretary of the Treasury, or Assistant Secretary of the Treasury. And John Birkeland, the CEO, is giving Nick a hard time about that. What do you think? And I said, by all means, it'd be great for Jay. He was politically minded, interested in going back to, he's from, I think, Chevy Chase, Maryland. I said it'd be great for him, and frankly, it may in the end be great for Dylan Reed. So, of course, do that. And then the guy says to me, well, would you be willing to let Brady use your name in discussions with Birkeland about this being a good idea? And, people were terrified of John Birkeland, but I wasn't. So by all means, So he then, and again, it wasn't just because of my recommendation, but he then goes, he does one term, one period as assistant secretary, and then he gets promoted. Let's wait.
This guy, he's telling us to go.
Well, okay. Undersecretary of the Treasury. Then he goes back into the private sector, makes a bunch of money at Bankers Trust and then the Carlyle Group. Then he goes on the board, of the
Lives there.
Was he in the Council on Foreign Relations?
Probably.
Oh my God.
But he then goes on the board of the Federal Reserve, and ultimately Obama selects him to be chairman.
Wow.
But I know him from long ago, and I'll just say whenever we were thinking about many different business problems together, he was he'd do the right thing. He's not a scoundrel like Schumer or.
But I just wonder to what extent, once you get in a position like this, I mean, do you still retain the ability to control anything?
I think so. I think in his case he does. But who knows? I mean, I haven't seen him in a while, since 2011. In fact, the last time I saw him was March 31st, 2011, the day before I spoke the only time at the National Press Club on April Fool's Day. Fittingly enough, was my debut.
That's
One
good.
fool briefs a whole bunch of fools. But anyway, no, it was a real. This is nice to be surrounded by garbage.
Yeah. Now, the other thing, Charles, is that Zero Hedge was talking about a deep dive here into allegations of sabotage from within the Hunter Biden probe.
Right. Well, yeah, we were talking about this before we started, and here maybe we should go across Murray Street,
Sure.
or do you want to go down to the World Trade Center?
Whatever you want to do.
I guess maybe we'll go to the World Trade Center and then
Sure.
by Zuccotti Park. Anyway, from my earliest involvement in the Clinton Foundation, one of the first questions I asked Judge Napolitano when I met him was, do you trust Jim Comey in the FBI? That's the first question I asked him. Because I figured if he said yes, he was basically
Lying.
wrong.
Yeah.
And not somebody I could rely on. But he neither said yes nor no. He kind of waffled. And that was a very strange reaction to have. I have other friends who knew Louis Freeh, and I personally was friendly with a senior FBI person who was a good guy.
Louis Freeh?
Not Louis Freeh.
Oh.
Somebody else.
So another person.
Yeah. And so I would, it's not like a huge ask to say if you're going to have and support the FBI and give these agents incredible discretion, whether to pursue an investigation or not to pursue an investigation, if to pursue an investigation, on what basis you're going to do all this, you should be able to have 99.99999% confidence that the leadership of the FBI was absolutely honest and understood that if it wasn't, then that's going to corrupt not only the whole FBI, but the whole justice system.
Right.
And so I think we're in a place, watching McCabe, watching Comey.
What are they doing now?
Well, McCabe made a hash of the whole 2016 election process, and then Comey after him, and now Wray after him. I think it's just very clear that the correct approach to take with the FBI, there are articles in the paper today about it, just burn it down and start over.
Yeah.
You say, look, I'm sorry, it didn't work. We're going to, you got a pension, we'll pay it. But,
Sorry it didn't work out, FBI.
Yeah.
You're irredeemable.
And then you go back to base principles and you say, look, we're going to start over, and we're going to focus on terrorism, foreign terrorist groups attacking people of all political persuasions. We're going to stay out of politics. Nobody who has anything to do with politics by affiliation can be in the FBI. And you go back to, and then you make really serious penalties for people who break the rules. It's not like, oh, well, we'll have, McCabe's close buddy who's for 20
preside
years over the disciplinary
investigation into his.
Right. Well, none of that. And then,
Well, what about the revolving door at, King Spalding and
Right.
all of that kind of stuff?
right, and also into private security firms and all that. So
Wilmer Hale.
you'd have to work on all that as well. But it's just crystal clear to me on the Hunter Biden matter and on the 2016 election, and dare I say the 2012 election, with the still unanswered questions surrounding Benghazi and what was really going on there with Abedin and what was Obama trying to make sure that we didn't know prior to his need to be reelected. I think the FBI very clearly has been meddling and maybe using cutouts, but maybe
definitely.
more overtly, been meddling in American politics illegally for decades, and it must stop. And
I agree.
There must be. What's that?
This is just an array of sensors. It's a spectracool.
Looks like an old-fashioned
I mean,
organ, but it is an array of.
Well, first of all, it's making sure that nothing happens on that brick wall.
This is the federal office building.
It's checking it with a camera.
This is probably some pretty important people in here.
It's the post office.
Well,
but
the
I
post
think-
office, but it's a federal office building, so there are other.
I think this detects various types of bombs and chemicals.
Okay. No smoking in front of the building entrance. Thank you.
I bet you people are listening to
Well, how
that.
does Philip Morris feel about that?
They probably put up
So
a sign.
I think we're already further
Sure.
south than we should go. No, maybe not. Maybe is that Zuccotti Park down there?
No, it's further south than the World Trade
okay,
Center, I'm
okay.
pretty sure.
Yeah,
But,
if this were all not on Manhattan, this would be very beautiful.
This is new.
Oculus.
Natural Cafe
Natural.
or whatever this is. It looks temporary. Well, so they built this container thing here, which just looks like a junkyard.
To bring the property taxes down.
I mean, this can't possibly be something that you admire from an aesthetic standpoint.
If you've just gotten off the undercarriage of an airplane from Mogadishu, you probably look at this and say you
great.
reached heaven.
Yeah.
And actually, that's the
Let's go, Brandon.
yeah.
Nah, no thanks with Ukraine.
Oh, thank you.
That guy was from somewhere else.
But he said something about go Ukraine.
He said in Russian or Ukrainian, whatever it is.
Slav or Ukrainian.
Yeah. So
But this is an interesting structure. I think it's ugly.
this
but-
is the Oculus.
Yeah. Have you
But
been
it's,
in there?
It's a giant eye. I've been in there. You want to go in there?
You can. We tried.
Oh, you need a mask,
Right.
right? They said last time. But why is that the only place in New York City that you need a mask?
Well,
to
this
go
could
in?
be one of Metro North operation.
Oh,
So, it's a different jurisdiction.
photobomb this little kid's Instagram picture.
Yeah. But so back on the FBI and Hunter Biden.
Yes.
I mean, it's crystal clear to me from my personal experience, admittedly about an hour with two FBI agents in December of 2018, when they tried to
Jam you up.
jam me up with an argument that I had been to London to meet with Assange and I was the person.
Don't you love it when other people tell you about what you did when
Yeah.
you actually did not do it?
Well, I had my passport there, which I just said, look, here it is. I only have one passport that you can check too. And it kind of like first of all, I opened the meeting by questioning whether the numbers they gave me were really their phone numbers.
And they were like,
Because I checked, both of them came back, one was this Hispanic woman's name, nothing connected to the FBI, and another was some other person's name. And they're like, how'd you do that? And I said to myself, this is not the A-team of the FBI.
Exactly.
All I did, I used Google, reverse lookup. It's not
What's that?
Yeah.
It would be better if they sent the A-team. They'd be like, stop all the jibber jabber, Charles Ortel. I pity the fool.
Yeah, but anyway, so I forget, they asked me a question, I would always answer the question, and then this different question, another question.
But this was like the day Clarissa died, right?
It was 4 days before she died, yeah.
Before.
And I just gotten a phone call, actually, from my daughter, I believe, saying that it looks like Mom is
Not well.
Well, it's not going to make it through the end of the week. So my next call was from the FBI.
Great day.
I know, that's what I told him. He said, how's your day going? Well, I just learned that my ex-wife is about to die, and I don't want that to happen to her or to my kids, and now you're calling me.
Yeah.
What do you think? You know?
Non sequitur, look at that.
Yeah, this used to be, Brown Brothers Harriman was in this building, I think.
Oh,
Used
wow.
to be.
Well, now it's an automated Amazon Go where there's nobody working there except the food.
So, but back on this period with this interaction with the FBI, I said to them, listen, if you want to understand what Peter Smith was going after, you have to understand what Peter Smith was doing. You have to understand what was motivating him. What was he what were he and I thinking about then? What were we spending all this time on the phone and emailing? It was about the Clinton Foundation. You guys are, it's on record, I say, you did investigate the Clinton Foundation and you didn't see the obvious fraud. Well, we can't talk about that.
Yeah.
You know?
No, they focus everything to their area of interest and not talking to you about it.
And here I have a small amount, very, very small amount of sympathy for Bill Clinton. If you think about this Zuccotti Park.
What's going on here?
This is typically they have these summer camp deals. Probably from
Here, that thing is almost done.
Yeah. So in the case
whatever.
of Bill Clinton and what's his name, Ken Starr, what started as an investigation in one area quickly morphed into an investigation of Monica Lewinsky and sex and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, right. When they
In that
want,
case-
they can go wherever.
Right. So there's a case of the FBI going up against a Democrat, and I would argue what they were really doing there is they were making enough of a show so that Bill and others could credibly complain. We don't have the light here.
Yeah, let's wait.
But in reality, they were happy to go through with this charade because they didn't want the American public to focus on what China had been doing.
With Charlie Tree?
Not just with Tree, to get the Hong Kong transfer. We don't have the light just a second. The Hong Kong transfer handover, which occurred in July, I think it was June 30, July 1st, 1997. That was a very significant move to put that city, to change the lease and put the city back into the control of the commies, along with this gigantic wealth that was inside Hong Kong and the established tradition of the securities markets there in Hong Kong. That was a big gift to help legitimize the communists. And then, following that, the decision for the United States to support Communist China's entry into the World Trade Organization and also NAFTA. All of these are gigantic decisions which are among the stupidest fucking decisions we've ever made as a nation.
Why did they let China in and not Russia? I mean, I guess it's a dumb question.
I don't know.
Same reason they're doing all this other
Well,
stuff.
I think you have, and there's Brown Brothers now. It used to be over here, but I think you have, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Rothschilds, and others look at the China prize back then and say, inevitably, China's going to be a very significant economy where we all need to have positions, and those who help China now won't be punished as harshly when China becomes a great power later on. So let's surrender now. See, the French approach.
Yeah, I was going to say, whose idea was that?
Yeah. Famous French surrender expert.
Don't worry about the light. Oh no, look at this dog. He's got a limp.
Yeah.
He's got a blue
The dog can't hunt.
sock.
Maybe let's wait for the light more.
That dog won't hunt, exactly, Charlie. I don't have a dog in that fight.
So I think it's possible that the game plan was, let's distract everybody with Bill Clinton's tales of sexual woe.
They like that.
So that nobody notices raping and pillaging economically. And we'll move along in this project.
Because I'm a block from my house.
We'll move along in this project to allow a communist Chinese nation to seize control of the global economy and intimidate much of the world because we're getting paid off. And this is a project that's been ongoing. It started with Kissinger and Nixon. It may have started beforehand. And I think we're really seeing that. We're seeing that now. And this Hunter Biden laptop. I mean, if you had a real FBI, remember there was the Abedin Anthony Weiner laptop. Yeah, if we
That's
had
a Nazi ruin.
huh?
That symbol is a Nazi ruin.
Oh, is it? So remember we had there's a common trick, you know, a laptop becomes known
An
right
item
before
and
an
then it's
election.
lost, right?
This is 2016. That's what
Right.
happened with, and you know the New York police have it, and the FBI
It's
storms
like hot
in,
potato laptop.
and the FBI storms in and says, "We'll take that. Thank you very much."
Right.
And tries to get away with not analyzing it. Then Comey gets up and lies about it. We've done many shows where, you know, Comey got up there and said, "We just got this laptop just came to our attention." Yeah, right. And we're going to have our team on crack, our crack team, analyze this. And Comey gives a press conference where he says, "We analyzed this and found nothing." And then it turns out that is not true. You know,
Well, they found nothing because they analyzed it with their eyes closed.
well, but my point is, when I, for example, was on my own time and not getting paid for it, when the Podesta WikiLeaks came out, I read every single email, every single
Wow.
one of them, as they came out.
That's
and,
amazing, Charles.
And sent emails into Fox and other people saying, "This is what I found. This is what I found." This is
And
what I
they
found."
used it.
And they put me on the air many
Wow.
times for that. So I mean, that's just one person doing it. I mean, if I had a team,
Right.
I wouldn't
Of
want a team of
FBI agents.
Well, no, I wouldn't use them. I mean,
Well,
I'd rather
right.
get the problem solved.
No, I agree.
I'd probably want to use people who are 20 years old, 15, 16 to 20,
Really?
25, tech experts. Absolutely.
15?
Oh, are you kidding me? I don't know what you were like at 15, but my kids were unbelievably good, proficient in the computer before 15. You know, younger people, obviously, properly supervised and if it need be paid. But that's not what they did in that time frame. They specifically, Comey said, "We did an investigation. Don't tell them that we said only look at 1% of the emails." You know,
And use these.
yeah, the ones over here.
We have something going on here, Charles.
Let's see. Typically, right before, is it 4 o'clock yet?
Yeah.
So 4 o'clock is the end of the stock market.
But, I mean, what are these? Maybe it's just lights.
It's probably some very famous person is in there coming out.
Let's take a look.
But we'll be able to tell in a second. It's you, Jason.
All these things are set up for me, and they didn't even know I was
Right.
arriving.
Well, I'm here now. It's got to be.
Joe Biden on the way? Somebody important, right?
It's John Legend singing. Here we go. Where? With Jim Cramer. There he is. Where? Get there.
Oh, yeah. I think he's kind of a douche.
They've trolled him. John Oliver was trolling him for what he said about inflation.
Yeah, I mean, he says a lot of dumb stuff.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you're constantly talking, I mean,
We're constantly talking.
he is. Well, he is. Though. I mean, I try to talk about things that are my subject area. He'll talk about anything, and you can't possibly follow every single stock that's trading out there and think that you really have an edge.
Well, we've seen enough of him.
Let's
What
go.
about Liberty Street?
It's around the corner.
So basically, we didn't realize until, well, maybe we wait until we get there to reveal
Real what?
the address of the place.
Oh, right. We got to find it now. Yeah, it's Exchange Place is where I thought it. But you said it's
33 Liberty Street,
which I
or
guess
place.
Nassau is. We're on. I think are we on? We're on Broad Street right now.
Here, I'll map it.
This used to be the employee entrance of J.P. Morgan. Now it's a fancy condo. Yeah, I think it's if we go in this way, we should get to it. My memory is it's on Exchange Place, which is right here. But they may have,
33 Liberty Street. Here, it wants us to,
make a left or right.
well, it says right here, make a right, I think. You see that?
Okay.
Exchange. Oh no, wait. Yeah, make a right, it seems.
Yeah, there's that Liberty.
Liberty.
It's definitely in here somewhere.
It's funny, this map works badly when you're walking because it you can be going the wrong way for a while before you
We've
realize.
done that.
And I think we're doing that right now.
All right, so let's go
Here, it's back this way, Charles.
back that way. Okay.
Broad Street. We got to go up Broad Street
And right.
and then make a right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we'll hit it. Up Broad Street to Nassau.
Or you go this way.
This way? Okay. Yeah, people might not realize when you get down here, if you don't know exactly where you're going, it's not like the rest of Manhattan. It's sort of all over the place.
Yeah, and it's a lot more populated on the weekends now than it used to be 40 years ago when I began work. You see, this structure here is to protect people from getting into the Fed or maybe the spa.
It's Bobby Van's. This structure,
And this garbage.
commonly known as a steakhouse,
That's a lot of garbage, Jason. I mean, why do you have this? Maybe, why don't they use the garbage to block the traffic?
Pushing it.
yeah, I don't know. Someone will build a
Just
condo
put
out
more-
of it.
Put more garbage in.
And
Maybe it's this structure up here on the left. Let's see. William Street. You said it was.
well, we sort of improvised. And also, we had more topics on the thing here. Now, we're way off from where we're supposed to be.
Where are we supposed to be?
Here, this is the map, and it's supposed to be Broad Street, up this way. Well, we could make a left here, I
On
think.
William. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, yeah, William is on the other side of it. I remember seeing that and thinking, oh yeah, William Street.
Yeah,
Split
Dylan-
eights? What is this? They're playing blackjack in there?
I don't know. This is 20 Exchange Place. I think First Boston used to be down here.
South Wales is enjoying the show, Charles.
Good. All right. I think it's definitely.
No, it's this way, yeah.
But now.
Welcome, South Wales.
Wait a minute.
Did you remember the Monty Python sketch asking the age-old question, did whales build Stonehenge? No, sorry, they were asking if dinosaurs built Stonehenge, but then they said scientists found the stones came from whales, so perhaps whales built it. This is a very scientific investigation. Wow.
That's serious garbage. Rip
And
it
this
all
lady
open.
is going through all of it.
Yeah. Well,
Don't worry about pandemic or monkeypox. Now, here's the other thing. They're telling us that 98% of the monkeypox cases are from male-to-male homosexual intercourse, but then they're saying it's a international emergency. It sounds pretty avoidable.
right. Well,
To me.
And how are kids getting it? That's what I'd like to know. But remember, this is exactly what happened with AIDS in the beginning.
Yes.
You know where it's coming from? So that's Dylan Reed used to be there. Here, there's nothing. If we go, we're just going to get back to Kramer. We can go back there.
But wait, don't we want to go? It's still up
Well,
this way.
here,
no?
here we go. Here.
We're going in a circle. I have the map right here.
I know. I got to look at it like this.
Okay.
Exchange Place.
We need to go.
Where you said Liberty Street?
We need to go left here,
Left where?
and then right on Nassau and straight. Here, I think I've got it now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's further. It's moved from where it used to be. Okay, I see where it is.
This was a bad. We're kind of locked in a thing here.
Go to buy some AT&T stock. Can't do that.
And that's
Here.
just phones, I think. So speaking of stock, what's going on with Twitter and Elon Musk and his whole? He's saying now that they're dragging their feet with delivering whatever information they're supposed to do. They want it to hurry up to the court, and then they're dragging feet.
Well,
that sounds like typical lawyer bullshit to me.
Well, in Wall Street, if you're going to get paid when a deal's closed, and you have information that is likely to make the deal close, you don't hold that information back, right? So the only reason, let's just wait a second. The only reason I was listening too closely and walking too closely. The only reason.
And then he looked back when we stopped.
Right.
He was looking for stock tips, Charles.
Well, I don't know what, but you should get some new pair of shorts.
Yeah.
A little bit too tight for somebody
Exactly.
that age. What are you going to do, bud? You're not going to run us down.
I thought that was Hunter Biden for a second.
It's Joe Biden.
It's a crack sale. He's on his way.
Exactly.
20% off?
So back on this deal question.
Yeah.
So they, if you're in the business, you're representing Twitter, and you believe you've got a solid company to sell, and the buyer is saying, "I need this information," and you said that your financial statements are accurate, there should be no reluctance whatsoever.
Right.
And that there is reluctance, that there is a disagreement, tells me that Musk is most likely correct.
Right.
And
That's Nassau up there?
right here.
Oh, okay. Why does it say? The signs are crazy down here.
Or is it the next
That
door?
says Broad Street.
What does that say there? That says Broad, but
Whoops.
then does it become a different Nassau, Jason? Here, look.
So this side is Nassau, that side's
Yeah,
Broad.
that's why it is.
This
confusing.
whole neighborhood makes zero sense,
Well,
Charles.
that's the whole plan. It's a devil's
I
plan.
see.
To get everybody really freaking confused. I recall the Fed being further down that way, but I see that.
Well, they
it's
were
that
doing
building
so
right there.
well over there. They
It's that one
opened this
right
new location.
I actually dropped, when my office was downtown, I had a use of a chauffeur-driven Mercedes, and I was seeing Jay Powell, and I dropped him over here at the Fed
Huh.
when he came to New York. We were
He's like,
chit-chatting.
nice car, Charles.
Well, it's kind of nice to have a chauffeur-driven Mercedes.
Absolutely. Was it bulletproof?
No.
So all the best dudes
Nuclear.
drive bulletproof.
Nuclear bomb-proof, Jason.
Yeah, good.
It wasn't mine. I just had use of it.
But wait, you were midstream on
On Twitter?
Twitter, yeah.
Yeah. So in the end, it's damaged goods at this point. The numbers are horrible.
But this judge, she's famous for making. She is the one judge who has previously made somebody do that specific performance.
Again, I don't know if it's truly comparable. I haven't read the agreement. I don't know what it obligates Musk to do, what the walkaway outs are. I just don't know any of that. And my guess is, because I am at this point very busy doing other stuff and I don't want to get distracted,
Sure.
just given the caliber of the lawyers involved, and given the fact that he is the richest man in the world, and given that there are a lot of people slinging fake shit at him. This recent story about him banging
Sergey Brin's wife, which
Right.
now all of them have come forward and said that didn't happen.
Right.
Why would the Wall Street Journal not call the wife to
Well,
verify?
Not just the Wall Street Journal. Why would the editor let that thing go?
Right.
I mean, it's not as if the Wall Street Journal is an enormously profitable ad machine. I mean, the Wall Street Journal is getting its
Turd,
ass kicked.
watch out.
I
Ooh,
see
you
it
just
here.
missed it.
No, I didn't. I saw it. Salmon over rice and salad. I call bullshit on that.
From the cart.
Yeah. Very, in high heat. Best to store
Yeah.
fish in a cart next
So
to garbage.
you're basically saying that these law firms would not allow somebody as rich as Elon Musk to make the type of stupid mistakes that stupid people are anticipating might be being made.
Generally speaking. That said,
Because they're going to be afraid of getting sued themselves.
well, it's more for them. It's more than just getting sued. It's a reputational thing. You're talking about. Yeah. Thanks for.
That guy wasn't looking, and he's like 7 feet tall.
I know. The taller they are, the harder they fall.
I think I would have fallen pretty hard.
Here you go, Jason.
The cops.
Just for you. Texting. And
Oh yeah, look at
33.
that. Right at the.
But these are. Let's not
Right
get
at
too
the
much.
door, he's
Those are
texting.
Federal Reserve Police. So let's not get.
I'm not going to say anything to
I'm
him, but
just-
it's just amazing that he's, Federal Reserve Police. Who knew they had that?
And look at the size of this building.
Well, I just want everybody to
It's
see
like
the
a fort.
33 first.
Huh?
I just wanted everybody to see the 33 first. But yeah, what are they
Is there
doing in
33
there?
on the side of the building too, and
I see it. It's all over the place.
not much. Now
Just
underneath
texting.
here, I think
Gold?
The gold, yeah. That in theory we store for people, that gold is somewhere under the ground here. That's a nice feeling, that air conditioning.
Nice
Stand here
breeze,
for a
yeah.
minute.
It's a funny
You want to
little
get your
dog.
mother a crazy hat?
No, thanks. Yeah, so here's 33 Liberty Street with texting cops and all.
Yeah.
How many different police
Let's go
forces
this
do
way.
we have?
Too many. But yeah, the basic principle, and Trump,
So that's the Fed, Charles.
that's the New York Fed. So the main office is in Washington,
It
D.C.
seems
and there's-
bigger than the one in D.C. though.
Well, there are many of these offices. So I think there are 12 buildings like this around the country, and then there's, I think, the headquarters in D.C. Now you were going to say something to me on air that you didn't want to tell me in advance.
I was telling you that I believe I know who created those Twitter accounts on the basis that they are named after 2 James Cameron movies.
Uh-huh. Well, now, do you want to go back uptown now, or we?
Yeah, we should, because remember, the battery's low.
Right.
I have been in communication with the engineers of this new sound thing, and they liked my suggestion, and they said they're going to make it happen, but they're on vacation now.
For 2 years?
No. Something like this, maybe a month or something. Who knows? Maybe they'll just do it right when they get back.
You think that's like the first Holiday Inn right there? Holiday Inns, I'm trying to remember where I stayed in a good Holiday Inn. It was outside the country somewhere. But that does not look like a very inviting building.
Well, that looks pretty new, at least. I mean, if you needed a hotel, you could probably do worse, although Holiday Inn is not my go-to.
You can go right next to the Indian Kitchen for dinner.
Raj's.
Friendly pizzas, Sticky's Finger Joint. I mean, this is not...
Friendly.
We're not talking...
That makes me think they're evil.
We're not talking highbrow here.
Usually if somebody's friendly, they don't need to tell you that.
Pizza and food over there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I think I still have some more subjects here to discuss on the wrist. Oh yeah, you had sent me this. Brandon versus Brandon.
Yeah.
So people were noticing that they put out this video where they're just not even bothering. They just
pretend.
Right, they just randomly cut. It's almost like the audio that I put together when you went to visit Hillary Clinton, where she's like, "Hello, Charles. I'm just sending emails to John Podesta."
I didn't notice any of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a
good to me.
bizarre Joe Biden interview, and then he just doesn't blink at all during the thing. I think people were noticing that he
Right.
seems to not blink. And I had mentioned to you that from my animation days, general guideline for animators is to have a character blink at least every 7 seconds,
Right.
or it looks oddly unrealistic. Joe Biden goes for way more than 7 seconds without blinking, and as an editor of live action material, I'm very conscious, if you have a lot of close-ups, to not edit out a lot of blinks and make the scene look unnatural.
Well, I think at this stage, if you had Beavis and Butthead,
They do
the actual
space.
characters, do the White House.
Do the White House. Yeah.
One of them could be, I don't know, Butthead would be Biden and Beavis would be Kamala. They would do a better job trying to explain what the hell we're doing with this country under this team than these two knuckleheads. I mean, this guy, Buttigieg,
Terrible.
who is, just because you get a title doesn't make you, Secretary of Transportation, doesn't make you instantly an expert on transportation. And Buttigieg is apparently now, with the entire American travel infrastructure in disarray, pilots not flying, airlines reeling, passengers not
Record
traveling,
delays.
the trains not running, the subway's a disaster, and the ports clogged with ships that he's decided to send miles offshore so they don't get counted as being part of the problem. This idiot is going around the world lecturing foreign nations that have far better transportation infrastructure systems than we do. In certain cases, because our system of private property ownership makes it very difficult to put right-of-way together over long periods, long distances through different states.
Your weed store there, Charles, for all the Wall Street people. Cannabis dispensary.
Priscillo's.
Oh, and it's got a Masonic floor. What's Priscillo's?
Pissillo.
Italian paninis.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Right next to this is what you eat your Pissillo. and
yeah,
this
you
is-
get stoned, and then you get a panini, and you go throw the
Yeah.
garbage right here. And,
Hunter starts here and ends there, but
Right.
that's his black car, isn't it?
Maybe. How's the Super Cruise?
Yeah.
And I think that young lady is lost, Charles.
And Hunter probably goes here all the time thinking it's
Blow.
a job bar.
Yeah, well, he's looking for something else in the blow bar.
Right. Blowouts, updos. What's an updo?
I guess hair up.
Yeah.
Here's the Abacus Bank. If a computer's too fast for you.
Yeah, way to sound like you're on a high-tech operation. Abacus Bank. We do things the way the Egyptians did it.
Yeah, like horse and buggy motorworks.
So we provide first and second pyramid loans. If you've got a sphinx you'd like to put up in your front lawn.
Oh, that reminds me. Mohammed bin Salman has announced this new crazy city that they're building in Saudi Arabia.
With a mirror and stuff?
Yeah, that they say is better than the pyramids. And I'm like, well...
Better than the what?
Better than the pyramids.
Yeah, right. Have you ever been to Saudi Arabia in the summer?
No, I haven't. I've been to Dubai in the summer.
You're not going to air condition Saudi Arabia's outdoors.
They had a plan to do that, a domed city and air condition the whole thing.
Had is the chief verb in that sentence. Nobody knows how close they are to peak production, but I think they're probably close to, if not past.
Or peak oil, meaning that's why they got to build all this stuff to have other...
Well, but they can't. In the oil deals I've been involved with, the reserve reports are notoriously squishy, kind of like that pile of shit we just passed. And any forecast beyond tomorrow is questionable. You talk about a forecast of something over 5, 10, 20 years.
Yeah, there's no way it's going to be correct.
They're so likely to be wrong in ways that will affect the value of the reserves, but always a weak move to say, we're one of the biggest oil companies in the world, and it's customary to have reserve reports. Our last reserve report was done 20 years ago. We don't want to update it.
Right.
That's a real confidence builder.
Is that what they said?
I don't know about the 20 exactly, but
something
order
like
of
that.
magnitude, yeah.
Wow.
So this is a lot of filming for Blue Bloods takes place around here because
Police plaza and everything.
Erin, whatever her name is, Reagan.
What about her?
She's the assistant district attorney, and she's appearing in these various courts. This is where Eric Adams pretends that he's working.
I don't even think he bothers doing that. He's just photo ops over here.
I thought there couldn't possibly be somebody less effective than Bill de Blasio.
Eric Adams is just an extremely dumb person.
Right, but very sure of his ignorant conclusions.
Well, it's a real big problem how many NYPD officers are badly undereducated and obviously unintelligent. I have a real serious problem with that. It's not to say that all of them are, but a really troubling number of them are. And you go and give a bunch of stupid idiots guns and don't allow the rest of us to exercise our Second Amendment rights, it's not good.
Well, you end up with a husk of a city, which is what
we've got.
Well, it's going to get worse.
Right.
Now with interest rates, the market in theory anticipated this latest 75 basis point increase in interest rates, but even that's not enough. I think, and Trump is gifted at getting these points across, even though he is in theory a billionaire, probably a billionaire. He's very gifted at speaking to the common man in a sensible way and addressing topics that are ahead of the time in ways where he's instantly believable.
I think that's due to growing up in Queens.
Could be.
I'm not joking.
Could be, but I think it's an attribute. There are a lot of people, stuck-up people, who just say, well, this person's never going to understand what I'm talking about. I'm just going to pitch this to...
Look, Eric Adams got a Mach-E Mustang.
Nice. This is, I believe, where he would show up to work.
So he bought a Mach-E Mustang, or somebody in there got one.
That's on the charging station.
Is it? Yeah. Well, they better make sure they had the recall for the battery exploding.
Let's hope it doesn't explode right now.
I don't care. Let it.
I do. I prefer to make it home.
It wouldn't reach us. The explosion would be contained within the battery, and the car would just set on fire, and we'd have a viral video of Eric Adams' Mach-E Mustang burning down.
Video, including risking my life.
No, you'd be fine as long as you're not in the car.
Sure. You'd be fine.
Or it's not parked in your garage while it happens. Right. That's bad.
Yeah.
You're upset about half a shirt. That's not even
it's just like
a piece of a shirt.
How do you go and buy something like that? Maybe it was a gift.
It's probably secondhand.
Secondhand?
Third.
Here's Eric Adams' latest economic development program.
Whoa. What's going on the bridge?
It's a street fair.
Oh.
I have to say, I mean, I used to like that kind of junk food. I cannot stand the notion of buying food on that walk
No.
next to all these cars stuck in traffic
Whoa.
on a hot day.
Yeah, no, I would never do it. That's what. Since when do they have a street fair on the Brooklyn Bridge? I'm not aware of that.
I'm sure they're paying sales tax and all that.
Well,
Not.
I mean, here we are, Charles. I don't remember exactly when it was, but just a short while ago, this was the New York City Chop Zone, or Chaz,
That was a
or
couple of
whatever.
years ago.
Yeah, 2 years, something like that. But
That's where we got the cops for yelling at us. Remember? Up the
narrow it down. Me yelling at them, or them yelling at
They were
me?
yelling.
Narrow it down.
It was, yeah, we're yelling both ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were some other things I sent you. There was the
Yeah, we've got other.
on the Hunter Biden thing. The issue there is the deep dive into Hunter Biden. Who was protecting whom? You know, I think the FBI was, and the team that wanted Joe in there and Trump out of there, they were protecting Hunter.
Of course.
And the question is how much. I mean, I'm not going to say precisely who it is. Some people will guess, but my experience, the only experience I have with an offspring of a president, is that
He was a jerk.
no, that's true, but that the protocols for having family members go on trips and stuff are strict. It's not like, you know, you get to be president and
Bring
you say,
whoever.
and you say, well, I think what I'll do is I'll have my daughters and my mother get in Air Force One and we'll buzz the Statue of Liberty. You know, that would, I guess
Just for kicks.
yeah, which I think did happen.
Wow.
You know, normally you don't do that kind of stuff. And it's not like, oh, I'm the president. That means everybody in my family can take as much as they want. I mean, that's not the way it works.
Somehow, somewhere along the way, it did become that. So this was this message sent by Chuck Grassley to Merrick Garland on May 31st, just
We
letting him
talked
know.
about it some way.
Yeah. I mean, it's like he's writing to the, you know, letter to the editor. It's like, by the way, I sent a letter the other day. You never responded. He's like complaining to the cable company. Merrick Garland is not very responsive, unfortunately.
And what Democrats do when they're trying to persecute Republican administrations is they cut off their funding. You know, they say we're going to cut off funding for the Justice Department unless you do X, Y, and Z. And then if they have the House and the Senate, they can try to do that.
Wow.
And I think we need to do more of that because really, the big message, you know, when you mentioned that you had a period there where you're living large on the left coast.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you think the money's going to come in forever,
You spend it on a lot of stupid
and
stuff.
then when a friendly banker comes along and says, you know, I'll give you a mortgage you shouldn't have or whatever.
Well, luckily I didn't get into that.
What are the nuns doing coming out of?
The NONEs.
No, nuns.
Oh yeah, I see them there. I don't know. You want to go ask?
No. I'm not that curious. I am not curious, yellow. But, so our government, when you go back to the 2006 period, we had been spending oodles of money, trillions of dollars all told, on what is now Afghanistan and Iraq, IWRECK. And then the financial crisis came along, and we threw all the traditional rules that tried to protect against what's called moral hazard. Moral hazard is when
What do they mean? Yeah.
when a malefactor, an evildoer, does something bad, as you would say.
Yeah.
But you decide that if you punish that malefactor, you're going to hurt the system even more. So you let the guy off or woman off.
Who invented that?
It's stupid. Well, it's the Washington D.C. swamp.
Right. Yeah.
But
That's
it's absolutely the wrong way to do it. You should say, look, we're going to make it because you were in a position of extra standing, high standing. We're going to punish
you harder,
25 times as hard as we punish somebody who didn't have the excuse that he should have known better.
Right.
So we didn't do that. It'd be a simple exercise. You could probably get Beavis to do this.
While Butthead's on vacation.
Well, but it's on vacation. Got Beavis's 3-year-old child, if Beavis had such a child, or Stewie from Family Guy.
Yes.
The whole
Brian, come here.
That's right. Just do a comparison of how much we spent on government in 2008 to how much we spent on government in the fiscal year, which ends in September. 2022. Apples
much
to apples.
more, I'm
It's
sure.
gigantic.
Oh, look, see, here, the GSA is saying no skateboarding on government property. I wonder if they would crack skulls if somebody did that.
I don't know. Pursuant to 41 Code of Federal Regulations, Part 10274, Subpart C.
We should carry that around and smack
Oh, what are
skateboarders.
those? Those are like
Giant balls.
giant diseased balls.
Object
like-
art. Don't really know. So, okay, they got malfeasers doing something and
Right.
they let them go.
Right, and we can't. We're doing that again and again and again since 2007 and 8. I think that the economic policies of Bernie Butthead Sanders and Elizabeth the scoundrel scold fake Cherokee Warren, they're just stupid. But I do have sympathy for the argument that if you're on top of the food chain, getting $20 million a year to be CEO of General Electric, and you blow the thing into smithereens, you shouldn't be allowed to just leave
Golden parachute.
and then go be the CEO of some other stupid company. And
well, but
walk
shouldn't
up-
that be up to the market if they're dumb enough to hire the person?
Well, the point is, you see, the system, the regulatory system, has been gamed. The current head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, went to Harvard Business School with me. He was a much better student than I was. He was, and but he was Hillary Clinton's campaign finance chairman.
Whoa!
And so he's,
He's about to get an F, Charles.
well, the point is that, you know, I think the SEC, it only has 5 commissioners. They can't, they're politically appointed.
Oh,
Their staff is not as big as a quarter, or not even a quarter. You know, it's GE staff is far bigger, and its legal capabilities far better, greater than the Justice Department. So these big multinational companies have gamed the system forever. And that's wrong. And I say that not as somebody who's left-leaning, but as somebody who has assets and likes to invest in things. And when the only reason I invest in companies is because I believe, perhaps foolishly, that I can check the financial statements and make an informed judgment about whether it's something I want to invest in or not.
well, not if it's Twitter.
Well, I right away knew I didn't want to invest in Twitter. I mean,
Based on the performance of the stock, that
no,
is.
but based on the financial statements. I'm not going to buy a company at 132 PE.
Right, right.
I mean, that's crazy.
Well, but also based on the fact that the CEO was a jackass,
Yeah. Well,
and then the new CEO is a bigger jackass.
right, probably a smaller jackass.
Smaller jackass, but
Bigger
different. Yeah, I don't even know if he has a bigger ego. They're just
little bit slower.
different flavors of jackassery.
Yeah. So, there's never been, we haven't gone back over that important period 7 through 9, and then looked carefully at the period, really December 31st, 2008 forward, where interest rates have been on the floor. And what that does, if interest rates are low, and if cronies get an opportunity to borrow money at low interest rates, then somebody can buy a car like that for much less, not having to write a check. The car payments are very light. You can lease something like that for 36 months. And
Well, there was no interest at all when I bought the car. Are they offering that now or no?
there was no interest in the way they claimed they were selling you the car, but the interest is baked into the price.
Right, but I mean, the last time I bought a car, the interest rate was like 3.9%,
Right,
and
but
it wound up really, really increasing the car. So the last car I had was also a Ford Escape hybrid, but it was 2009.
Right.
And the sale price was approximately the same as this one. Actually, this one was, I think, $1,000 less, which is amazing considering all the
Yeah.
stuff they jam in there. But on the first one, I had a loan, and I was paying it over 4 years, and I think I didn't put very much money down, and it really, really, like when I was all said and done with that car and sold it when I left California, I just got taken to the cleaners on
Right.
that.
Right, but so that in a low interest rate environment, you can get away with that. Car manufacturers there are too many manufacturers, there's too much output, there's not enough demand, so they're all falling over themselves just trying to get rid of the metal.
But let me ask you this, what is it that they're expected to do with the Fed tomorrow, and what does the Fed want?
They did it today. They
Oh.
raised interest rates.
Okay, so what did they do? What is it expected to cause,
So-
and what do you think it'll do?
Well, so they said they were going to raise interest rates, anticipated 75 basis points, and they did. And that's still not enough because the interest rate range is like 2.25 to 2.75 or something like that now post-raise. And inflation's running above double digits.
So they did it already and it didn't work?
Well, I don't know if it didn't work, but I think, we'll have to wait and see. A whole bunch of companies are announcing earnings tomorrow. We got, is it tomorrow, I guess? Is it tomorrow or Friday is Exxon and Chevron, and we're going to have these ghouls. We're going to jump all over Exxon and Chevron and say, your earnings are too good. You
got to make less money, right?
Make less money, so,
So food can cost more and everybody can be miserable.
Right, exactly.
It was better before.
Right, so what happened is really with Tim Geithner and the New York Fed president and others, to save the system, Bernanke and Geithner and others got together and said, what we're going to do is push interest rates on the floor, and that will allow people to continue buying cars and refinancing homes and whatever, and make it seem as if the economy is strong. And that's like, saying to somebody, you can be a jet fighter, excuse us.
Maybe deaf.
You can be a jet fighter pilot, just practice over here on this bicycle with training wheels.
Right.
It's just like riding a bicycle. Don't go up in the air.
Yeah.
And that's in effect, they put the global economy on training wheels. Nobody was forced to pay the piper for borrowing too much money and making stupid investments in 2001 to 2008. They papered over all those problems, and now we got raging inflation. And no, let's keep going this way.
Okay.
And because this is less busy.
I was going to say, you don't want to run the gauntlet of
No.
illegal product sales?
Not really.
Oh,
It's
surprising.
actually getting sticky now.
Yeah, it was nicer earlier in the day. Is it supposed to rain tonight?
I don't know. What am I, a meteorologist?
I don't know.
So when you look at this, I think when people reflect on it, they're going to say, now wait a minute. The campaign is just a short couple of months. Well, it's all of August, all of September, all of October. So 3 months from now, with 1 month where people really are going to focus on vacation. And in this climate, the last thing politicians in both parties want is a depression. And
But they're already changing the definition of recession in the same way that Dershowitz wanted to change the definition of
vaccine. Yeah.
I wasn't going to say it, but that's what he wanted to change.
Well, and you take this guy. Is it Steve Dees?
Yeah.
That guy. I'm telling you, he should have been.
That's the guy with the liberal world order?
Yeah, and he's now. Somebody was saying he was being questioned by real journalists who were saying, "Now wait a minute,
what the hell are you talking about exactly?"
There's a lot of signs that the American economy is going into recession, and he says, "Oh, really? That's the wrong way of looking at it. I mean, we're not in a famine the way other countries are.
Oh my God!
It's like,
what is that guy's job?
I think he's either
Professional idiot.
He's a top national level economic advisor.
Unbelievable.
He's a moron.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I actually like Austin Goolsbee, who is Obama's, I think, similar type guy, but he too is one of these people who could just lie his ass off or say something that sounded credible. He'd be instantly proven wrong.
Wow.
But this Dees guy, I mean, he ought to go work as a speechwriter for Joe Biden.
We should change his name to D's Nuts.
Doze. Steve Doze.
Yeah, very bad.
This is, if you remember, this is where we, not were assaulted, but there were a whole bunch of homeless people here.
I mean, again, this is where we were assaulted. Doesn't narrow it down, Charles.
But remember, there
Just
were
dumping chemicals in the street? Okay.
Sure.
It doesn't look like water. Why has it got all the
Why is it orange?
ingredients on the side of it there, bro?
Oh, it's just water. Why is the asphalt melting?
Why are you standing so far away from it as it leaks into the street? Whoa. I don't know if that got on camera. Did you notice that?
What?
The guy's using like wet naps to brush his teeth or clean out his mouth or something.
Well.
Sanitary wipes.
Nature.
Well, so all right, we're getting into the zone where we're going to be testing the battery life extension techniques.
You call it.
No, we're going to keep going. I want to see how far we can press it. Yeah, Acme Studios. Why would you 33 Green Street?
And 54.
Yeah, that's going to be Queens.
68th Avenue.
That's going to be Queens, right? Or maybe, right? 54 to 60.
What is
that's
Acme
like a
Studios?
Queens
Why would you?
style address. I don't know,
Sidewalk
but assholes riding bikes on sidewalks.
morons.
All right, now it gives me 20% battery remaining, so that's pretty good. I think we could go for a little while. We'll
Go up to 8th Street or something like that.
Yeah, I think we get one more warning before the battery craps out, so we're doing all right.
Is this person wearing clothes?
Yes, she might need our
Really?
help.
I mean,
She looked like she didn't need anybody's help at all. Doing just fine.
I had no. I mean, if somebody wants to show me their body, I'm not.
Well, she's jogging, I mean.
But I mean, that doesn't leave a lot to the imagination. I
No.
suppose.
Yeah.
The hair bar.
Yeah.
Joe Biden does not hang out there.
Sniff.
Yeah.
You
Can I sniff the hair?
Sniff
the
that
the
place.
cuttings?
Right. He prefers it if it's attached to a little girl.
Yeah. And Joe Biden's angry denunciation of Trump and repeating this idea that
Right. You can't be pro-police if you're pro-insurrection. This is what they love to do.
Right.
They take something that happened, like a bunch of Antifa and FBI provocateurs incite a very small number of drunk QAnon lovers to bust into the Capitol, and they say, "Up, insurrection." No, that wasn't an insurrection.
Well, and let's forget about the Antifa.
Burning down
Yeah.
federal buildings and people intimidating
the church.
the
Episcopal
Supreme
Church.
Court and the church. I mean, the insurrection was the people going and saying we're going to intimidate the Supreme Court to get it to do what we want
Right.
because we don't like the outcome. But so they start with a false premise. There was an insurrection. Then they start bullying people saying, well, you ain't black if you don't vote for Joe Biden.
Right.
And you can't be pro-police if you're pro-insurrection. And all that stupid stuff without blinking and with a million edits in a 20-second video.
Well, and the thing of it is, truly good ideas, exceptionally good ideas,
Rare.
well, but when they come along, you don't need to bully somebody
Into going along with it.
going along with it. It's only really bad ideas.
He's also hot off of telling everybody, if you get this thing that we want you to get, you will not contract the thing that you don't want to contract. And then it's like, but Joe,
You just
you
did.
took 4 of those things and you just got it.
And he's going to get it again. Mark my word. They're already setting it up, saying, they're in a limited number of cases, in particular where you take this, what is it, Plaxivit or something?
That's the pill that
Right,
cures you once you have it.
Right, but when you take that in a limited number of cases, you're going to get COVID again.
Oh my
So
God,
that would
how is that a cure?
Well, I mean, if our goal is to destroy confidence in government, in the health system, in pundits, they've done an excellent job.
Yeah,
In a
and
short
then now
period.
Fauci is like, I didn't tell anybody to lock down anything. Fauci, come here. What the fuck are you talking
That's
about?
right.
That's idiotic. How can he say that?
That's where you want that guy, Joe Pesci. Why you ever look at Joe? Give him the full Pesci.
He's like, wait, you spider, you mumbling, stuttering. Say something wrong with you, you know that? And then he shoots the guy.
Yeah, that's what you want.
That was, I forget that actor's name, but he went on. He was Christopher in Sopranos after that role.
Oh yeah.
Spider. Yeah, you're not all right. So now, see, these guys have basically taken over this street and made it into their own skate park.
Right, nothing dangerous about that.
But it's not officially sanctioned. This is not.
Well, it's
Something
become
for the
like
city.
an unofficial cool kid hangout. And those guys I doubt they're 18.
Yeah, they don't look like it.
We got it. Now here, this is an illegal charity.
You gonna ask her something?
We'll see. Yeah, this is it. United Breast Cancer. Good.
Help give them money for breast cancer. But we don't want breast cancer, so we're not giving you any
That's
money.
right. Is that your car?
That's not mine.
What's your
But
head?
actually, I was just watching a thing about how these cars are starting to have lots of problems because it's extremely complicated and they're getting older.
I think we need to check the United Breast Cancer Foundation and see if it even, I believe they do file 990s, but what I looked at suggested they were very sketchy.
Well, and you know, this wife of Sergey Brin, this ex-wife of Sergey Brin that Elon Musk did not bang, has her own charity called what was it called?
We invest crookedly.
Something like that. It's talking about reproductive rights and social justice, and we invest in company. It's like, what do you mean you invest? Is it a venture capital firm, or is it a foundation, or they're trying to make it a combination of those things?
Again, this is your greenwashing stuff. I mean, there's nothing wrong. In fact, I would argue it's a lot better to have an environment where people are focused on profit, because there it's not impossible, but it's tougher to steal money from a for-profit enterprise.
That guy looked like Anthony Bourdain, but it wasn't.
Because he's still dead.
Yes.
Than it is to steal money for a not-for-profit, because people are giving the money away. Maybe they don't check that carefully. So, where were we on? What got me into that?
The charity from Bryn's
So
wife.
when you mix charity with business, it's a very bad idea.
They don't care.
Well, if
They love bad ideas.
If their real goal is to virtue signal, to wash your reputation, to convert your dirty reputation as Bill Gates or John D. Rockefeller into a philanthropic patron, then these charities, as we see in the Gates Foundation, we don't have it, and the Clinton Foundation and many of the Biden foundations, the Tony
Basically
Blair
every
Foundation,
single one of them we've looked at.
anytime you have an active politician or a politician who has members of his family still in politics, and that person's involved with a charity, it's a very bad idea, because it becomes a way to get on the right side of the dynastic political family. It becomes a way for the government to send untraceable streams of money towards your charity,
Right.
that are then
Foreign
backhanded
governments.
around the world and around the country. And there's ample evidence of this. It's been going on for a long time. It will be the subject. I think it's much of what Larry Doyle and Whitey Moynihan have been attacking via the tax court and other means. And I think eventually, just as we start running out of money, which
I think it's starting to rain.
no, I think you're right. This is going to be brought to a head. Cheat Death NYC.
I just saw that. What is that all about?
Well,
It's
didn't this
just
used
graffiti.
to be some kind of a store here?
I think so. Carhartt.
Doesn't look like it's too inviting an environment. And here's Microsoft. Speaking of poorly run companies, here's a Microsoft office.
Oh, no, this is Carhartt. Well, I didn't realize. Is that the office or a Microsoft store?
I think it's an office.
Do you want to get a super dry dirt bike?
Got one. I had one similar to that, not that fancy.
I like super dry if you need a jacket.
Yeah, I'm
Japanese.
kind of out of the motorcycle riding business.
I don't know that it's not usually motorcycles. I think that's a super dry store that just painted the motorcycle.
But those dirt bikes on my property are a lot of fun. Flying through the woods on a dirt bike. Not
Yeah,
the smartest
now-
thing in the world to do.
Is this the office or the store?
Just an office.
Yeah, now I was typing something in Microsoft Word the other day on the Mac, not even on the iPad. There's a lot of problems with Microsoft Word on the iPad, but on the Mac it usually works pretty well. I was trying to paste something in there, and it would not paste, and I was like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on? So I pasted it into a text program to try to strip out any extraneous stuff and make it just pure text. It still wouldn't paste. Then I opened a new Microsoft Word document, pasted it into that, then recopied it, then I could paste it into the document I was typing. And I said to myself, this is one of Microsoft's most mature products,
It doesn't work.
and they can't even make that work. I don't want to hear a damn thing from Bill Gates about health or vaccines or whatever kind of crap he's talking about.
Or
shit milkshakes or anything like that.
Man's ears.
Man's ears. He might know more about that. And along the lines of the poop cocktail, Charles, I saw a product that I think you'll like. Instead of turning poop into a cocktail, what this thing was doing is like super duper heating the waste and killing all the pathogens and getting all the water out of it, and then compressing it down into a carbon, like a coal brick that has no odor and is just non-toxic and whatever. And it's very much like coal, and you can burn it. And if you use these kind of systems that are used for capturing the exhaust from coal and whatever, this was a renewable resource that was addressing the problem of increasing amount of human waste. And the thing that I was thinking about is, just even in my own apartment every day, just from buying food and preparing food, I'm throwing away so many individual plastic boxes and plastic bags. If there was some sort of utility in your house that you could just put all plastic into, and it processed it somehow either into plastic pellets that could go somewhere or something that you could use to make energy, the less number of recycling trucks driving around and plastic that's,
I
maybe...
got another idea.
What?
not exactly constructive. But what we would do is we'd say, pick a time of the day.
A time.
2 a.m., about when everybody should be home. Say 2 to 5, 1 to 5.
Property damage experts. Yeah, we're gonna
1 to 5, right?
Yeah.
And the new rule in New York is you can't be on the street unless you're a garbage wrangler. What?
No wheeled vehicles on the sidewalk.
Don't get it. You get assaulting a postal service guy.
Yeah.
So
Just careful, he's gonna run you over.
stop sign. So whatever the time is, 1 to 5, let's say, in New York, an edict on high. The only people who can be out at 1 to 5 are the team of garbage wranglers and street cleaners.
Right? No,
And so-
that's too restrictive.
And then what you do is you throw all your garbage out the window on the street.
That's the old method.
Right, and you have these people pick up all the garbage and take it somewhere, to AOC's house, to Bill de Blasio's
That would
house,
be perfect.
or something, and that's the way we deal with it.
Well, Charles, we just got the final low battery
Okay.
warning, so hopefully Sweden will now make the software update sometime pretty soon. We'll be able to get back to our longer than 2-hour walks, but it looks like 1:45 is the most we can manage with this setup.
Good.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure you become a sponsor on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. I haven't yet had an opportunity to do another counter lawfare report, but I will soon. There is a renewed effort to destroy me and Crowdsource the Truth, that they're very focused on trying to force me to hire a lawyer. I don't want to do that, but when people sponsor the show, it helps me have the financial resources that I need to fight these legal attacks, whether it involves hiring a lawyer or not. So huge thank you to the viewer sponsors who have helped keep this show going. Even these free shows on YouTube would not be here without the viewer sponsors. So if you enjoy the show and you're not a sponsor, please consider becoming one. There's a huge library of sponsor exclusive content, and I will see everybody soon. Charles, thanks for a great episode.
Thank you, Jason.
Have a great day, everybody.